Mark Longwith, and this is the channel for conscious leadership through integrity. I drop videos every Thursday, and we focus on what it really looks like to step into our power as evolved entrepreneurs and show up as conscious leaders to the world and raise the collective up to where we needed to be in this future part of our lives. So let's talk about really focusing on our belief ceiling. This is something that I see every single day with my clients. It's like probably the number one issue, if not the only real issue that we face. See, in life, we can learn any tool we want to learn, and we can grow any system we want to grow, and we can build anything we want to build. But none of that is possible if you don't believe it's possible. You know, everyone talks about the 4-minute mile, and I know it's generic and it's old and it's been used up, but it really is true. Like, no one could break this barrier. And when somebody did, it happened over and over and over again. And the point is that it's simply a belief. So when your belief ceiling is lower than it should be, and I can tell you that 99.9% of everybody in this world, their belief ceiling is lower, you really don't see what I like to call possibility. So the real beauty of all this is looking at life from a place of possibility rather than a place of confinement or restriction. And so this happens in our childhood. This happens from our cultures, our schools, our upbringing. You know, everything around us continuously tells us that, like, you must do this. If you do this, you will be safe. Well, to be alive is to risk, okay? To live is to risk dying. You know, this is something that I really just want to stress, is that all of this is one gigantic risk. But at the end of the day, the reality of this is that you don't have control anyways. Like, this illusion or this idea that we can control our environment, like it's not a reality. It's just what we pretend. And then when the reality comes crashing down and something happens that's completely out of your control, you start to really grow and realize that, like, it's really more about acceptance and letting go. And when you let go of all the control around you and you allow the possibility of things to come into your life, you stop blocking what could be. And so just to explain this, you know, I like to use this analogy. There's a lot of young Americans, probably everywhere, but I'm just going to use America, that's where we're at. A lot of young Americans that are coming back and they have PTSD from military service. And they're unable to see possibility. See, they're so stuck in their construct that all that they see is what they know. And it literally, our mind is like this hamster wheel. It does what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to think. It's supposed to repeat itself. It's doing its job. But we have to wrangle that in like a puppy, right? A puppy's just doing what a puppy does, but you have to train that puppy, right? That's why they call it the monkey mind. So back to these veterans coming back, they only can see this. And I use this example because I think everybody here, whether we've served or not, can understand that they went through some crazy stuff, and that of course they would have a mentality that would be traumatized or traumatic. So we can at least comprehend, I understand how somebody might be able to have the blinders on and only see this bubble based on the traumatic experiences that they've had. But here's the thing, years of therapy of trying to pull them out and see a different possibility has not been successful. Sometimes it does, but most of the time not, because it's not experiential, right? So what they're utilizing now is psychedelics. Now, before you have judgment about this, just look at the reality of it. The reality is, when you take a psychedelic drug, you put yourself in a different realm of possibility, right? Like, I have done them many of times, and I can tell you that the world's a completely different place, right? You see things, feel things, smell things, hear things that, I don't know, maybe they're there and we just don't see them, but in that moment, they are there. Are they there in reality? I'm not sure, but that's not the point. The point is that for a moment, right, call it 4 hours, whatever, they're in this other world. So when they're in this other world, they realize, wait a minute, I'm over here and I was over there. So that means that there's a possibility to be somewhere else than I've been stuck in this whole time. So when they come back to the tangible reality, they realize that what they are experiencing doesn't have to be that way because there is another option, right? So that's what I wanted to talk to you about as entrepreneurs, is I see so many people, and I mean this respectfully, but students of ours, clients, friends, they just give up. And these are people that are fucking hardcore. They're badasses, but they're giving up because they just can't wrap their mind around how to create another possibility or another angle. When you look at the great people in the world that we consider great, like they looked through a problem. They didn't look at the problem. They looked at a solution or a possibility. All these things that we look at today and go, oh, electricity, no big deal, duh. Like, could you imagine trying to harness the power of lightning and that was your muse and create something out of that? And look what's become of it. This phone that I'm recording on, the lights that I'm using, the internet that you're working with, what you're watching this on, all came from that, would not exist if that person didn't think of the possibility. Did they have any idea it would create this? Absolutely not, right? They probably had no idea. They were just trying to maybe turn on some lights. So when you understand that, you start to look at things differently. And the point of this is that in life, nothing really changes, right? Like I haven't changed so much, especially like I see a client come in and you think they really changed so much in 2 to 3 months, like their whole life just changed. No, the life really stayed the same. What changed was them. What changed was the way that they think, the way they approach things, the possibilities that were presented to them, to see that there is something more than the construct and the conditioning that they've been taught to believe. And that is really our job, in the work that I do, is that I believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And when I do that, it becomes contagious. And I always use this example as well, and if you heard it, I'm just going to repeat it, is when a little kid is walking out onto any field of sports, they'll look back at their parents when they're really young and kind of be like, Mom, Dad, is this okay? And Mom and Dad are like, yeah, we got this, you're good. And so they immediately go, I'm good. I guarantee you if that mom and dad were like, whoa, the kid would be like, oh shit, what am I doing? Why am I here? Should I be here? What's going on? Mom, Dad. And the thing is they're borrowing the belief of their parents. And that's what I do, is I lend belief to my clients, and I believe in them so fucking hard that they don't have an option but to believe in themselves. See, I'm not going to talk about self-love right now because I've talked about it many times, maybe another one, but we literally are so hard on ourselves. We beat the shit out of ourselves and we don't believe in ourselves. And then that limits our possibilities. And then all of the conditioning from maybe the childhood bullies to our parents to just the way society says play it safe and stick in this box and get this job and have this retirement account and retire here. Like none of that is about risk. And life, to live, is a risk. That's what this is about. It's about risking and believing that there's something more. So to really summarize this, understand that on the other side of possibility is everything that you want. And it's simply a mindset shift. And am I gonna say it's simple? I'm gonna say it gets easier when you do it more often. Because I can tell you that the more tangible results I've had, the more confidence I grow in myself, shifting that becomes much easier than it did the first time I ever tried to do it, right? And you've all done this. Everyone has made a mindset shift. Like we've seen something one way when we were younger, and then we shifted and go, oh, I don't really see things that way anymore. And because of that, a whole new realm of possibility opened up. Maybe when you were in high school, you're like, oh, my friend doesn't like that person. So you know what? I don't like that person anymore either. So you just cut yourself off from the possibility of a new friendship, of a new world, of a new realm. And then you grow up and go, well, so-and-so doesn't like that person, but I don't have an issue with them, so that's their personal stuff. So now you have another possibility. So all I'm trying to share with you is that life isn't about anything other than looking through problems and seeing the possibility in those challenges rather than limiting yourself to the beliefs that you think are possible and the constructs that have defined you over the years. So as we grow together into conscious leaders, into evolved entrepreneurs, what makes us great and separates us from the pack, right, is our ability to do that. But here's the conscious leadership part. Here's the integrity part is, do we want to be the only ones? Now, maybe you are selfish watching this and you want to be, but for me, I want to raise the collective up to this level. Because if one person could create something so amazing, and then he creates a team or she creates a team and they create something more amazing, imagine if everybody was vibrating at this highest vibration and creating from a place of consciousness and a place of open, legitimate, limitless possibility. Like when that happens, I don't know what's going to happen to the world, but I have to imagine it's a beautiful thing. And I really believe we could use some beautiful possibility and limitlessness right now, because the times that we're in, we are being constricted, restricted, and just shut down more than ever possible. And we're losing our greatest power. Our greatest power is to be able to have conversations, to connect, and to gather. That is the power of a human being. The ability to talk together, communicate and create and gather in force to create an outcome is unprecedented. In the last however many thousands of years we've been around doing this, let's just say the last 10,000, that has been our power. And we don't grow without each other. You know, my mother had a beautiful saying, and she would say that people are like sandpaper. Now that kind of sucks sometimes, right? But they're just sanding away the rough edges. And without those people to mirror and have around you, you wouldn't grow. So I talked a little bit about belief and the ceiling that you have and how it really is a mindset shift and a change. And that possibility is really the goal. Because when you do that, you look through problems, not at problems, and challenges just become nothing more than obstacles, nothing more than a challenge that you can get through. You know, and then when we gather as a collective and we do this as a team, this is when you raise the consciousness of the collective as a whole, and you truly create something that I think is needed for this world. And I think that we're going into a space of just being so much more advanced. And to do that, we need to raise each other up. So that's really important. And I want you to just stop and think about that for a moment. And please respond in these comments and tell me what you think about the realm of possibility. What are your limiting beliefs? What are your constructs? Do you see where I'm coming from? Did that analogy make sense? The more feedback you give me, not only the more does it excite me, I love this, but it actually helps me create content so I can cater it and craft it to what you're looking for, my audience. So thank you for joining me. This is Mark Longwith. This is Evolved Entrepreneur. This is the channel for conscious leadership through integrity. I drop videos every Thursday on YouTube, and I look forward to seeing you next week.